1952 GMC 6500 maybe. At least that's what I'm told. The owner said it was a 6500. From what I've seen online, it could be a 4000 series, it could be a 5000 series, and it could be a 6000 series. So I've got it really narrowed down.
Sounds big.
Before we start ripping into this thing though, we want to fix it up and like get it running because we want to sell things like the engine, maybe the rear axle, the transmission. So as you've already seen, it does run, albeit a little bit rough. The water pump has a pretty nasty leak, hence the puddle. Carburetor is running real rough. We can only keep it running with the choke on. Not entirely sure what that means, but we're going to rebuild the carburetor. The numbers on this motor say it is a 1957 302 straight 6. The truck is a 1952, so it's already not the original motor. And it also tells us that it is a civilian model, but this truck has an electric fuel pump, which came on the military version. So it's already a mess. Fuel pump is a little loud. And it also sounds like it's gonna die right now. Why is that? Maybe our battery's dying? That's a bummer.
Charge the battery and be back.
See you guys in a couple hours. While that's charging, we've got some other issues that will need to be addressed. So I'm pretty sure that is the air compressor right there. There's a air line right here, and it's had a patch done right there, but I was told that that is what is leaking. This thing has full air brakes on both the front and rear. There you can see the air brakes. And it's a 2-speed rear, and that right up there is the actuator for it, which also looks like it runs off of air. So in order to test the 2-speed rear end, we'll need to get enough pressure in the air system. Side note, these came in it. It's got a second one too. And I think,
if we know how to read, and we do,
might shock some.
This is a fire extinguisher.
Is it just like those toy water guns that you like stick it in water, suck up the water, and then push it out?
No, I think you probably have it stored with water.
If your truck catches on fire, you're looking for a river or a lake nearby. Please don't spray it on me.
Oh, it smells terrible.
I can't. Oh yeah, that smells like a fart.
Worse.
Okay, how do you like shoot the water out of it though? Oh, that smells awful. We need to do this outside. Quick Aid Fire Guard Heavy Duty. It says turn handle and pump, which we have done. It stinks. We just think once it gets up to pressure, it's supposed to come out the end, but maybe it's clogged. This thing's gonna like pop on us and just cover us.
It's leaking out the back, and
so it's got pressure in it.
The foulest smelling water.
We might try and restore those and keep them in just because they're cool, or we might give them away, TBD. This is the air horn chain. Other thing you may have noticed on this is an alternator, and that down there is the original generator. So this truck would have originally ran on 6 volts. Somebody's already updated that to 12 volts, but they didn't want to figure out the belt situation, so they just kept the old generator on down there. So I guess it's just easier that way.
I understood some of those words.
Another cool feature is this fuel filter glass bowl. I thought this was really cool when I first saw it, but I was quickly told that these are huge fire hazards. It's an actual glass bowl filled with fuel directly above your exhaust manifold. So
it's where the term smoking a bowl came from.
That is true. It is the next day now, so we should have plenty of charge. Choke out, fuel pump on. actually running. It's never done that before. You can hear the air leak down there. Oh, it's right there. I can feel it. Yeah, that connection right there is really bad. So we've got a rebuild kit for this. We're gonna rebuild this. We did at one point see some leaks coming out of here, so it'd be good to replace these gaskets anyway. We'll get that rebuilt. We're probably gonna put in a new fuel pump just so we can hear ourselves. And maybe we'll be able to get this running well enough. Carburetor is fully rebuilt. As you can see, the plunger is a lot stiffer now. I did replace the fuel pump down below. We got all the new gaskets in there. The last thing for this, so this engine originally came with a mechanical fuel pump. And the way that this was plumbed is it went from the gas tank to the electrical fuel pump under the driver, and then it pushed it through the mechanical fuel pump up into here. We're gonna bypass that just to make it less stupid.
I like less stupid.
The miracle of editing, the fuel line has been replaced. And we're good to start it, right?
Unsquirted.
Oh, is it the old mechanical fuel pump line? Maybe. Watch that, I'll turn it over again. Yeah. Better?
It's still squirting.
Better. Here's the issue. This is the old needle, and we tried reusing that because it's a different style than what came in our rebuild kit. But in tightening this down, I flubbed it.
You crushed it.
So now we need to try and figure out how to get this one in there at the right length and working. Good luck, Alex. Just do your thing. I'll
send it.
I'll come back in 20
What the
minutes.
Letterman's for.
File it down. No pressure, Alex. It's starting. Ooh, it's a miracle. We did it. We've got a hole drilled similar as the length close enough. The lengths look the same though, right? Alex, is this gonna work?
I'm redneck enough to believe that it will.
Oh, there it is. We've got fuel. Okay. Hold on, turn it off, Mitchell. That looks awful. we got root beer gas now, which means we probably have the valve. That's loud. The valve on the floor right there, because there's a gas tank here behind the seat, and then there's a gas tank right there. We couldn't get any gas to show up with this one, which is where we put the new gas in. We switched the valve, and now we've got root beer gas, which I think is coming out of that tank.
Yeah, that's where I put root beer.
That's where Mitchell was storing his root beer, so. It is yet another day, and I think we finally have everything figured out. Yesterday's major issue was we could not get any gas to come from the gas tank. The person I bought this from did drive it around last year, so we didn't think that would really be an issue. We'd put 5 gallons of gas in it, and the pump just couldn't get anything from it. We disconnected the lines, we tried blowing on it, we tried sucking on it.
One more good suck. I'm sucking with everything I have.
You keep saying no more, and then you go right back for it again.
my whole mouth tastes like gas. Like, okay, what do I have to lose now? Like, hey, ready? Oh man, it won't stop now. It's happening now. Okay.
Dude, don't do it.
Oh, it's still coming out. Look at it. Oh. Oh my gosh.
Why?
I got like a mouthful.
So we cleaned out all of the old nasty gas that we accidentally pumped through it from the other tank, and we jerry-rigged a temporary solution. There conveniently happened to be a hole in the floor right there, so we ran our fuel line. Instead of going to the gas tank, it goes to this gas can. We've got new filters on here, and we were able to pump it through and get clearish gas coming through. So finally, I think it's ready for its maiden voyage.
Like where we drove it more than 100 feet.
Yes. And what better way to test if the brakes work and everything than just driving it?
At 70 miles per hour.
No, not quite that fast. Brakes seem to hold okay for right now.
Someone's checking us out.
What's up, dude? Just rebuilt the carb, so we're
Gonna go burn down the old fuel?
testing it out now.
No, there's no old fuel. It's just this. So the reverse brakes work, do the forward brakes work?
Oh, no power steering is rough when you're not moving. I don't think the 2-speed rear end works. Oil pressure still looks good. Oh, these brakes are...
Good?
Yeah. It worked. One could use. It's not spilling too much gas. Guy did tell me you have to like double clutch it a lot to get it to go in. Yeah, that was pretty good. We're gonna find a spot where we can turn around now. The brakes are holding us on a hill, so that's a good sign. We're idling just fine. There's no fire coming out from under the hood, so that's good.
Burp, burp, poop.
Actually worked surprisingly well. We didn't end up fixing the air leak because it seemed to be holding enough pressure. It was a gamble. Let's try the 2-speed rear again. It's not engaged on anything there. So it'll stay in low gear, but it won't go into high unless there's something I don't know about how those work, which is a possibility.
How does it feel to be a real man, Dan?
Finally know what it's like. I love that sound. That's a loud horn.
That's the best it's worked.
Got no fuel leaks. Fuel or carburetor gaskets are swelling a bit, but that's to be expected right after a fresh rebuild. A little smoky because it got hot for the first time in who knows how long. I'd call that a success. So we know we've got a 1952 GMC 6500 2-ton truck with a 2-speed rear, a 302 straight 6 that works well and runs. And now what are we planning on doing with this? So Mitchell and I have started a new business, hence the new warehouse, new location, all of that. And we are actually in need of a box truck for that business. So what we want to do with this truck is tear it way down. We're going to sell the engine and transmission, probably the rear axle if we can find a buyer for it. Either way, we're replacing it. And we're going to turn this into a more modern but retro box truck that we can use for our business. I don't have any visual aids prepared, so we'll see how creative I get in editing. Plan is to remove the 302 and sell that. To replace that, we'll put in a 12-valve Cummins. Currently, this truck has a 13,000-pound rear axle and a 4,500-pound front axle. We'd like to replace those both so that we can get some more modern, safer brakes, and we need a better, more highway-friendly gear ratio on the back. Right now, this has a 6.1 when it's in high gear, and in low gear, it's an 8.13. So we'd like to replace both of those, preferably with a Dana 80 in the rear and a Dana 60 in the front. If we do go that route with the axles, we can do an 8 to 10 lug conversion and still put some 22.5-inch wheels on this to maintain that large semi-truck tire look. And that'll allow us to get rid of these split rims, which are just an accident waiting to happen. Back here, we'll remove this flatbed and replace it with a custom hardwood retro-styled box with a roll-up door. Interior, we'll get some new suspension bucket seats probably, maybe a center console to hold some drinks. AC and heat will be a must, so we're gonna have to figure that out. So that's our current game plan, which means in the next video, we're going to start hopefully disassembling this, ripping this apart, and getting it torn down as far as we need to start building it back up. We're gonna pull out this 302 and list it locally, but if anybody here is interested in it and is willing to set up freight, we would be willing to do that. We can forklift it into a truck if needed.
Yeah, buy it. Great paperweight.